What was the big lie?
The big
Derek?
lie, Pamela, the big lie was me telling a certain small circle of people that I had a brain tumor. Nobody questions somebody that's fighting cancer. They'll always question someone that's fighting addiction, because that disease is something that's okay to mock and to not understand. But cancer, nobody will touch you. So I told this lie that I had brain cancer.
The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and not necessarily those of WKTV Community Media.
Hello, West Michigan. This is Grand Tap Media Business TV. My name is Pamela Keim, your host. The spirit of the show is to introduce West Michigan to all the businesses, nonprofits, individuals can help us thrive in our lives. We have our special guest that we are on part 2 interview. Last week, when it was posted out, he was talking about what happened, caused him to lose everything. He was a professional, he was a business owner, a family, and he started to spiral out of control with alcohol, and he totally lost everything, ended up living in a pole barn. And today, we're going to be talking about, inspired him to write the book that can help others that can get out of situation, or maybe even prevent them before they get into the situation. I want to welcome to the show Derek Chowen to the show.
Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you so much for being here. I know that we said that part 1 was all about the backstory of what inspired you to write this book. Today we're going to be talking about, in part 2, is what people can find in this book, and then you're helping others and how you can see, maybe you even see where they probably are going to stumble because they haven't really taken full responsibility, something like that. So share a little bit to our audience of who you are really quickly, so they can get a feel for who is this man in this picture of this book, right? Which is a really nice picture of you.
There's a lot of Photoshop in that picture. My name is Derek Chowen. I did not start off as a writer. That's one of the things that one of my old English teachers reached out to me, and she's like, "What are you doing, Mr. Chowen?" I said, "I wanted to write a book." And she's like, "No, you did not. You never did. You loved to read, but you never loved to write." I hated writing.
Well, at least you like to read. A lot of people even, they don't do either.
No.
You know?
That's something that, I mean,
one or the other.
You could pick up a book, anything at the cottage, whatever. It didn't matter the topic. As long as you had something to read, you were fine.
Okay.
But that book, the first edition, started off as a blog. And I posted right from just before that, I started talking about AA, about how I needed to get back to what was working before. And then I got to the lie, and that's chapter 5 in there. It's called Go to Hell. That's the name of the chapter, and that's because a friend of mine sent me the text when she found out what I had done. It wasn't, "What can I do to help?" It was, "Go to hell." And I thought I'd lost her forever. Thankfully, I have not. But the first edition was very rough. I did not have a writing background. It had all the dirty words and some dirty words that I made up.
Well, that kind of reaches an audience too.
It does. It may...
maybe not some of your professional friends, but...
there's ladies that didn't need to read those words.
You're going into the 3rd edition of this,
That is
correct?
the 3rd right there. Yep.
That's got to be exciting.
It is. It's nice because what's happened is, even after the first one, I was getting responses from people saying, "Thank you for this." Because I never thought about making a book. And people said, "I want this in a hard copy. I want to be able to carry this with me."
Was it a diary?
Just a blog.
Was it a journal or a blog? So it was a blog.
Every week.
And then you just were, what did it go out daily?
Weekly.
Weekly.
Yep.
And it was just to what? Keep you responsible, keep you in check, or what were you doing?
I was sharing what I was learning. I was helping other people. Hopefully, I was showing them what my progress was, what my efforts were to try to reclaim some of my dignity, my name.
Well, you kind of blew that one out the water with the big, can you share with our audience? Last part 1, he shared the big lie. What was the big lie?
The big
Derek?
lie, Pamela, the big lie was me telling a certain small circle of people that I had a brain tumor. Nobody questions somebody that's fighting cancer. They'll always question someone that's fighting addiction, because that disease is something that's okay to mock and to not understand. But cancer, nobody will touch you. So I told this lie that I had brain cancer.
I'm
And
kind of curious to how you thought this was going to play out after a year or two, because you said you finally discovered that most people don't recover from brain cancer.
most don't, and that was kind of the plan. Was things were so bad that I never thought I'd recover from it at all. I didn't anticipate this being a 2-year project after I told the lie.
Were you going to check out?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, so you had a plan to check out
Yes.
of the situation because you've lost everything, living in a pole barn, and wanted a little bit of sympathy, or people get off your back?
I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. I wanted to finish my ride down to the bottom and then punch my ticket and be done.
Now, did you plan it all out? How
Yeah.
you were going to end? You were going to leave this world and
Yeah.
answer to God. You had it all planned out what you were going to say.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Thankfully, it went better than I anticipated because I never finished that plan. The night that I was going to take care of everything, I remember I still had a bottle of rum in the kitchen with some booze left in it. And somehow my brain said, don't let them say he couldn't even get that right. So I went out there to start, I'm going to finish this bottle and end everything empty. Nothing in the house.
Not leaving it. Nobody's got to throw it all away.
Nobody
when
can
I
say
got,
he couldn't
right?
finish that project. And as I did that, I started crying. I wanted to see my kids again. I wanted to see my parents again. I wanted to see my friends again. It was a selfish moment that defeated a selfish moment. The most selfish thing was ending your life. The second most selfish is to do it not because of others, but because of you.
But you don't think about it. You do think it's going to affect people, but it's almost like you think you're giving them a favor because
Yeah.
you've lost everything. You can't financially pay for your kids anymore. You
No.
lost your home. You live in a this will be I have been a burden to them too long.
Yep.
And that's how people think. And
Sure.
so if they check out,
I'm
it's
out
like
of the way.
you should be thankful.
Yes. Thankfully, I didn't finish that job. So I took a couple days of being sick from DTs, which I do not recommend. Don't do that yourself. Get help. Be
Did you do it
supervised.
yourself?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Lock yourself in a room?
Just
or-
stayed at my house and drank water and went through the shakes and the nightmares and the sweats and the pain and the sickness.
Is it really as bad as they show on TV?
Yes. Sometimes it's worse and more embarrassing.
Oh, wow. And nobody was with you.
No.
How did you gain the strength?
Sometimes it's okay to believe in a higher power. You can pick what it is, but sometimes you have to believe that there's something bigger than you out there.
So you pretty much cried out to God.
I just cried out. I said, I need some help. And I had family that was there right away. My first call was to my mom. Second call was to my dad. And yes, I knew I'd let them both down, but the first thing out of their mouth, each of them, was, I love you, what can I do to help? And when you have that kind of support, there's nothing that you can't do.
Where are you in the siblings? Not the baby, are you?
No. I would technically be the middle. I had an older sister. She passed, was an infant, so I never knew her, but I'd be the oldest, and my sister's 2 years younger.
See, siblings, middle children are well adjusted. I'm a middle child.
See?
But I had older and stuff. I always tell my husband, who's a middle child, say, I think we're the most well adjusted, but we do like to, do things to extreme.
Yes.
And this was extreme. Ours is golf. People will be shocked how much we play into golf in the summertime. We do extreme, and that's
Right.
kind of what we enjoy to do. And I get the joke back as like, I can't believe you do so much golf. My husband's retired, that's why he's able to do that. And I go, well, in lieu of what?
Right. Yes. What would you trade for it? What would you fill that time
In
with?
lieu of what? Well, you with alcohol. Well, I can name getting a job, getting an income.
All
There's a
kinds
lot
of
of
things,
stuff,
yeah.
right? Okay. How long did you detox?
2 or 3 days, just at home.
And then
Didn't
you
leave the
laid
house.
there and called AA. What was the next thing?
I went to AA. I'd been there before.
Okay.
So I knew the guys there, and I went to the all men's meeting at first. And I went in and just said, okay, let's do this again. The first time I made it 90 days. This time it's been 7 years. So
7 years. I mean, that is, on a scale of success, they say like every 5 years
yeah,
is a good.
it's a good chunk.
Yeah, really. So you went to AA and did you speak on the first time you went there?
I did to say, because I already knew some of the guys.
Hey, Derek, what are you doing back?
I'm back, and I'm sure you've heard why. I did that, and I make light of this. It seems like I'm being flippant. I don't mean to be.
I don't think so. I'm not making fun. I know
Yeah.
it was difficult. I mean, I do and I don't, but you know what I'm saying. I can empathize.
Yeah,
How difficult it could be. I'm not saying it as lightly, But like you said, you already knew the people.
Yep.
And I did share with you on my phone real quickly that I used to help in a women's shelter.
Yep.
And they told me it takes 8 times for a woman to actually leave her abuser.
Right.
So you were really pretty surprised by that.
Yes.
On the average. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure people can do it in 1 or 2, but it takes about 8 times.
And this is the one thing I want to really reinforce is this, we talk a lot about addiction, but this book is more about hope. And going back into those rooms and seeing those guys and their success, and there's some of them that 37, 40 years of sobriety.
Yeah, I've met people that
What a miracle.
I didn't know that they were recovering.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 30 years.
Mhm.
And I just love helping other people get out of that.
Yeah.
They still want to be part of AA,
Yeah.
those groups.
Yep. And this one, when I went to the recovery coaching program to get the first certification, what the very first question that our instructor asked is, Derek, define recovery. Well, it's easy. It's abstinence from your drug of choice. He's like, really? And then he went through this whole line of things to get us to think differently. You define your recovery. It doesn't, nobody in AA defines it, nobody in NA, nobody in any of the 12-step programs, which are beautiful to me. There's so many things in each 12-step program that normal people could use. It's beautiful in there. The hope that is instilled, it's so good. But when he did that, he told me a story about a guy that went from heroin to cocaine to whiskey to beer. Now he can have 2 beers every couple days or every weekend, and he's fine. That's his definition of recovery. One of the things we do that I don't like is, how many years do you have? How many days do you have? Well,
Oh, you don't like that question?
No, it's fine that you did, and I'm glad you did ask that, because it's
Okay.
important, because it helps me, and it's different for everybody. I'm not the expert.
Correct.
But what I say is, I don't care if you have a day, 100 days, 100 years. It's your definition. Now, if you slipped and you had a drink and your goal is abstinence, you didn't fail. You've got however many days behind you that you went without. That's all experience gained. That's all knowledge gained. That's all traction, and traction is so important. Start again. If you saw that success and you felt that success, and I can see the success, I can see in the smile and the rosy cheeks how good you're doing, how well you're doing, start again. You didn't lose that.
When you fall off, well, that's like people that don't give them chance after they fall off a diet, you
Yeah.
know, or not even a diet, a lifestyle.
Right.
I went and gained 5 pounds over Christmas and get back, right?
Yeah.
Or 10 pounds, whatever.
Whatever.
I don't know why we don't allow ourselves to just say, wake up in the morning, self-talk, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and it's back. I had my great fun over the holidays, did great over the Christmas.
Let's get back to work.
Get back.
Yeah.
And then that's what, but is it true that it's every minute, if you can get drinking that minute, I mean, how much of that consumed your brain?
Very little. The booze was the easiest piece of this whole project to get rid of. People are shocked. Like, why didn't you do it sooner? Which is a dumb question, because, well, yeah, I'm
So I
smart
won't
enough.
ask it.
Well, no, you can. You can ask anything. But you know, why didn't you quit sooner? I couldn't. I wasn't ready. You have to be ready to give
What were you
up.
looking for?
When I quit or when I was drinking?
Well, you lost everything.
Yeah.
I mean, was there anything, and you needed somebody to hit you with a car and say, Derek,
Stop it.
you stop. But why?
There's no good answer. I don't have one.
You never came up with, it's not in the,
Nope.
is
Sorry,
that like
there's-
3 questions you got to ask yourself?
It's at the last page. You got to read it all from the beginning.
Okay.
But you will find your time, and when it's time, you'll know. And it could be, you could be 10 years old, 15 years old, or 50. It doesn't matter. You'll find it, and you'll know. And when you do, you will get it. It's easy. To put down the booze was so easy. To let the sun shine into all the stuff that was the yuck that I needed to work on, that was the hard part.
How long do you think you were really, share with us, you were the alcoholic? 10 years, 5 years?
No, 25.
25.
Yeah.
Any health issues due to?
No.
No?
I did my
Okay.
blood work last year, and the doctor said I look like I'm 30 if she looks at the blood work.
Can you see signs in other people? Can you see? Because I can sometimes. Not that I am
Sometimes.
an alcoholic, but I see people excessively talking about drinking, talking about, it's weird. And all of a sudden, it's not part of our conversation. We'll sit and have a glass of wine.
Right.
But it is in our goal every weekend.
Right.
Do you see that?
You can, but it's not. Alcohol is so socially acceptable.
Right.
We market the hell out of it so that people do it and buy it and spend it, and that's how you look. Healthy, athletic, Sophisticated. Yes.
Sophisticated wine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What's
Well,
more sophisticated than you having a glass of wine and me having a glass of scotch? That's the pinnacle.
Well, Michigan's the capital. I mean, number one craft beer
Yeah.
of the world.
Yeah.
I will have to tell you, we have great beer.
It's delicious.
It's delicious.
I've
to
tried
have
all of it a lot.
How did how long did it take before you got to where you felt like you got this behind you, and you could move on to your? I mean,
A couple years.
trust.
Yeah.
Build that trust. Did you build the relationships back up?
Most of them.
You have
Not
to
all.
reconcile with people, don't you?
You do.
On the AA.
Yep. And it's called making amends. And again, that's another thing that people could use that aren't alcoholics, addicts, whatever you want to call us. Making amends and saying you're sorry and meaning it. The best apology is change of behavior. So I can say I'm sorry. That's one of the things I used to say. I wore sorry out.
Well, it
And-
hasn't. You know, it's like I want to say sometimes when I said sorry a lot when I was younger, it became meaningless. Like you're just gonna,
You'll do it again.
And it wasn't anything like this, but it was just my
Right.
maybe be saying I was really kind of when I was those people that were really shy in school and came home and just my whole family got to hear because you
Feel
are
it,
you
sure.
start coming out.
Yeah.
This is
It
who
has
you
to come out.
are.
We have to get it out.
Right.
So what this has done is one of the ladies that read it sent me a really beautiful email one day, and she said, "Thank you for giving me permission to ask for help." She'd lost her mom, didn't know how to get help for mourning that grief and healing that grief. I'm like, that doesn't have anything to do with it. And she said, yes, it does. Everything in here says that you were flawed and that you found hope and that you found a way to get that help and that it's okay. So that tip top to the very bottom, yep, here's all my scars, here's all my mistakes, everything. Here you go. It's okay, we're human.
Well, you did that with the blog, and then you started doing it. You did the information in the book.
Yep.
And this book is incredible, and it's helping. I mean, on Amazon, all the reviews on Google, people that have read the book. What do you have going on today that's leading to help? I know that this part of your life has been to help other people.
This has been a gift. The pain that I've caused, I wish I could take back. I can't. I don't have a time machine. I wish I could. 'Cause I've hurt some beautiful people. I didn't ever mean that. But through this process, I'm hoping that I'm leading by example. I'm hoping to show people that there is hope. There's always hope. You can always find a way back. If I could, you certainly can.
Is that the
That's the theme.
That's the theme. You can
Yeah.
find your way back. What's
Yep.
the thawing man? Is this like layers and layers of issues, or what?
That, I was in such a hurry when I first started AA. I was frantic because I thought the harder I work, the faster I'll be better, and the faster I
90
get back to
days,
work.
I'll be out of here.
Done. 30. I'm going to really apply myself. And one of the old timers grabbed a hold of me. He said, "Kid, you're just starting to thaw out. Let it happen. Your brain has been frozen and soaked in booze. Let it thaw." And that was so profound. That's the only way. And Rich, I will always give him credit for that title because that was him.
Just layers and layers and layers. I
Yeah.
mean, just solidly melting. I guess it's kind of biblical.
Yeah, could be.
You know what I mean? That God keeps taking off, like pruning the tree, and
All the yuck.
so it can grow. And
Get back into the sun.
how are you at going into social situations? Is there
piece
that
of
it
cake.
seems to be a trend now? There is people out there, all in my circle, that are starting to, hey, I'm going to see if I can give up drinking for 6 months, a year, maybe just over Lent, just trying it because it is part of our culture.
It's bad for you.
Well, thank you.
Not you personally.
But you know what I'm saying. Socially, I mean, I could, to tell you, I could have one glass in 2 weeks.
Sure.
It's not a big, but when I was, just going out networking and social, it was part of the
Yeah.
deal and the finances it takes to do that.
Yep.
And that was like I was pounding them. But even, you figure if you went to an event and you had one drink
Yeah.
at a cash bar, it adds up.
It does, and I've not usually ever had
And a lot of
just
people
one.
have come to me over COVID, that I told you that on the phone, that are saying that they really did partake
Sure.
in self,
And that's not addiction.
meditating.
That's trauma. That is pain. You are trying to numb that pain. And whatever it takes, if it's a candy bar or, food, booze, sex,
Shopping.
drugs, whatever,
Yeah.
you're not fixing the problem, you're masking it and burying it. And that is the most dangerous thing. That's what removes the hope. The harder and more you pack in there, the less hope you have. It's harder to see. It's always there. It's just hard to see.
What's your favorite part of the book?
Finish. To
Finish?
be done with it.
It's done. It sounds like Christ, right? It is finished. I mean, I don't think we have a lot. I will, to be honest, I think there's a lot of people that never have the completion of things, right? It's always, let's say it, you know, even with your weight. I mean, you look at a guy that you didn't jump to one addiction to the other, right? With food. It's like, oh, I could always use a couple more. I mean, talk to any woman. Right. That's a negative thing about it. But there's something about finished accomplishment, done. And
my favorite part are the last 3 chapters. Those are the newest ones. There's almost 100 new pages in that book compared to the second edition. Those last 3 chapters speak to the people that are around addicts, that need the hope, that feel the hope. It gives, when people say they need permission, I don't believe that. I don't believe the word empowerment. You have that power. You've already got it. I can't give it to you. I can't take it away from you. That's all your stuff. You own it right from the very beginning. That's one thing my dad taught me. He's like, people don't earn your respect. You start off by respecting them. It's theirs to lose. Those last 3 chapters give people the hope. I tried to put in there that, hey, you're in charge of this. Nobody else. Go get it.
Yeah. And are you taking this book? Is it like you're going to, I know you give it out to a lot of people that need it.
Yep.
And what are you doing? Like you have what's your business? Share with us what Derek is at now. I mean, you look totally put back together.
I think I am mostly. Creaks and groans continue as age goes by, but this book, the profits from that go to buy books to give out to people that don't have the wherewithal. I was there once when I didn't have the money to buy it. So the goal is to get that into as many hands as we can. So go to derekchowen.com. There's an info@derekchowen.com. Send me a note and I'll do what I can to get you books.
Okay.
If you ever, especially you, if you run into people that need it, I left some for you.
Yeah, you did. I appreciate that. That's very nice.
I'll get you some more.
You know, there's a lot of, I wouldn't say they're living in a pole barn. But they're living, but
check to check.
That's bottom.
Yeah.
You always see them down, you know, asking for $1 or whatever to buy. And they're living in shelters.
It could be a mom and dad on paycheck to paycheck, and if they miss an hour or 2 of work, half a day of work, they don't make rent. I'm happy to help because there's hope and you can get there.
There is hope. And before we leave here real quickly, I wanted to say you put out a weekly, like almost like a weekly post for video on Facebook.
Yep.
And you did say in the last one I just saw is that you kind of reviewed Matthew Perry, who is in Friends. Can you share real quickly on that? Is that I found it very interesting that you saw some that you don't think he's really coming to terms with. He's out there writing.
He is. He did a book about his addiction and his recovery, his sobriety, I'll call it. I don't think he's in recovery, and I'm not a doctor to say to diagnose, but the tone of his book compared to the tone of mine is completely different, and not by design. I mean, I started mine 7 years ago, and he just did his in the last year. And one of my friends did a review, and that Sunday night video that you were speaking of, I take a review that someone's done of the book, and I read it, and then I kind of pull it apart to see what more can be found in that review.
Yes.
And what she said, and multiple people have said, is he lacks the hope. He's bitter. He's like, you don't seem bitter. I'm like, I'm not. I'm happy. You
are the calmest person. I've listened to other interviews that you've done just to kind of get a feel of how to interview the best I can. And you are the calmest person. And I said to my husband, David, I'm like, listen, you know, some people are coming out of, you could see where they might have self-medicated.
Sure.
But you're a mystery to me because you're similar to my husband, very calm, you know, and nice dress attire, and that's fooling. It can fool people.
If I was still in that condition, I could have. I mean, that was one of the things that you'll hear, and other people that start this journey will hear the same thing. I never knew. Yeah, that's what they say about suicide too. Some people. Yep.
All right, I want you to share with our audience. We're going to be wrapping this up. Where they find the book? You do public speaking? Other places that you might be able to reach you and learn more about you? One of the best place to get it is on Amazon. We're going to work our way back into bookstores because I love bookstores and that's my passion. I love bookstores. I do. They're my favorite. This one was a self-published job, so I'll do a better job on the next couple. But this book is on Amazon. It's in hardcover, paperback, Kindle, and Audible, and I narrated it for you. So I hope you like it. All right, thank you for sharing your story. We want to thank, the book is called The Thawing Man. This is Derek Chowen. I appreciate you being here today, and I'm hoping this interview will help other people that might be noticing some things in their family or themselves.
Me too.
That don't want to go exactly the way you went on yours. Do you know what I'm saying?
Thank you for giving me the time and for reaching out to help other people too. What you're doing is so important for people like me. Even if you're at the day 1 or day 100, year 100, people like you that take a chance on people like us is huge. So thank you for doing that for us.
Well, it's been my pleasure to get to know you, and I want everybody that needs to get this in somebody's hand. I hope they look you up, and you have audio. You get an audio
Yep.
of this, and you can listen to it in your car.
Yeah.
All right, this is Pamela Keim from GRTV Media. This is part 2 with Derek. Part 1, you can check it out on my YouTube channels, on my social media. It'll be on Derek's social media too. His part 1, and we thank you. We'll see you next time.